G'day sew-and-sews, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Kathy and today I'm going to be teaching you about interfacing. Interfacing helps prepare your fabric for sewing, makes it stronger, stops fraying, gives it structure, gives it shape. It can be a little bit scary, but I'm going to take you through the basics of the glue-on interfacing, and before you know it, you'll be an expert. Let's get cracking. Okay, here we have our interfacing. We have our basic light interfacing. You can see that side sort of is more paperish, that side is shiny, so that is our glue side. And I'll show you at my ironing board why that's important and so important to check. Then we have our medium weight interfacing. This one is a little bit harder to see, but you can feel it. That's our glue side. And if you're unsure, you can just practice with a little scrap piece at your iron with a scrap piece of fabric and you'll be able to work it out pretty quick. So don't worry. This is our fleece interfacing. Same thing. It's hard to see, but you can feel it. This one is a more specialized one. This is called Decoville and this is Decoville Light. So our shiny side is our glue side. Some patterns will call for Decoville, and this is Decoville Heavy. Obviously, you can see the difference. Most patterns, I shouldn't say most, some patterns, especially when you're getting patterns from other countries, will specify, something blah, 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 25 as your interfacing. Which can be really confusing, especially if you can't find it. And I know starting out, I read patterns and being in Australia was completely different interfacing. So it took me a little while to work out. But a lot of patterns will say, light interfacing, medium interfacing, fleece interfacing. So that's where it becomes easier. If it does call for a specific interfacing and you can't find it, you can generally work out, should I use light? Should I use medium? Should I use heavy? These ones are from, I think that one too, are from Spotlight in Australia. Joann's in America would be the equivalent. This one I think is called Buckram or Buckham, something like that, Buckram or Buckham. You'll be able to find it, trust me. And I use this to give my handbags that I make shape and structure. And I'll pop a picture of one of my handbags up so you can see. The handbag that I'll pop up that I have in mind has this for the lining, this for the outside fabric, with some Decoville to give it in the middle, to give it that shape and structure. But you'll find it for a lot of clothing, patterns, things like the pattern bags that we made last time. I have a tutorial up for these if you'd want to have a look. Really good beginner project, really useful. I've lined this fabric with this just to give it that little bit of shape and also that little bit of strength and protection as well. So check out the tutorial on those ones. So I'm going to take these over to the iron and put them on the fabric so then you can see what they look like. This one especially, like this stuff is just beast level. Decoville Heavy. And you can get this in Australia online, I think from, where do I get it from? Voodoo Rabbit is a really, really good website shop that I get a lot of stuff from. I really like them. So voodoorabbit.com.au. Voodoo Rabbit, like a crazy little bunny. And I find this is really good for bags. That's really good for bags. A lot of clothes I made Christmas hats last year that had this as a lining. It's just soft, but it gives the fabric some structure as well. This one, things like bucket hats is a good beginner project. We might make some of them at some point. It's really good in the brim because it holds it flat. You think about a hat or a bucket hat, and it's got that brim that's a little bit firm. It's because it's got this stuff in between. This I've used in overalls. My iron is about to beep in a minute, so if you hear that noise. I've used this in making overalls, underneath buttons, like the overalls has the hole in the button that go through to give it a little bit more strength. And I use it a lot in linings for my handbags. So this one is from Spotlight, but I bought a heap of an equivalent one from Lincraft on the weekend, which is like $1.49 a meter, which is great. So this you can chop and cut and not worry too much. This stuff is about $37 a meter. So I've cut that out of this scrap piece. But when you cut this stuff out for a pattern or whatever, you really want to make sure you puzzle piece your pattern pieces in there so you have as least wastage as possible, because it is expensive. It does go on sale at Spotlight. Everything goes on sale at Spotlight. So if they have sales where the fabric is 40% off, that's when you buy fabric. Make sure you're a Spotlight member so those discounts come off, and check your receipts, because I'm always checking the receipts and going, you overcharged me here. They run when they see me coming in there, I swear. There's one boy in there that's got PTSD from me. But you should check. But it is really hard, so sorry. He knows who he is. I'm sorry. That's quite expensive too. So yeah, that goes on sale, I think, from about $38 or $32 down to about $17. So watch for the sales. Decoville, I think, is about $20 a meter or so on Voodoo Rabbit. The last time I bought it, it might have gone up since then, because they do run out and it can be hard to get. So that's another one where you sort of really make sure you are using it, and keep your scraps. Like that bit that I just showed you was a piece that I cut upside down. I cut it the wrong way, so I couldn't use it, but I can use it on smaller projects. So I have a tub full of just leftover bits that are big enough that at some stage I'll be able to use it in a project. Or if I'm desperate, which I'd never do in my bags or anything, because they take a lot of time and energy. But if it's a project I'm doing for myself, I'll just sort of Frankenstein bits together, not for clothing or anything like that, but So let's take this over to the iron, pop it in, show you how to do that, and then I'll come back and show you what the fabric looks like after the interfacing is on. Let's do it. So I'm just going to hold my phone as I'm filming here, so it might be a little bit wobbly. So I'm using, and I use a lot, just this old, I think it's an Elna press. I've also got a Singer one. I've got some other ones over there under the table. You can find them on Marketplace or eBay, generally between like $40 and $100 maybe. You don't want to pay too much more. Some people think they've got like an old Singer, and because it's Singer that it's worth $1 million. It's not. I tend to go through these because I use them so much, and as you can see underneath, like I get glue and stuff everywhere, and then you try and clean it off, and you end up taking off some of the coating. These get super hot. Be super careful not to do that, not to touch it. A good lesson in why you always make sure that your interfacing is facing up the right way is right here. I did this the other day. I haven't done it for years, and I've just glued that on there. Frustrating. Silly. So you want to make sure that, double check that your glue is the right side up. So I'm going to use that light one with this light fabric. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to do with one hand. Then I'm going to go along and put these ones up, glue side up, glue side up, glue side up, and glue side up. You'll notice that these ones are smaller than what I've cut these, and I'll show you why in a minute, even though our fabric is all the right size. I'm going to turn the camera off for a sec and get these on. All I'm going to do is put this over the top. So if I was at my ironing board, if I didn't have this thing, if I was at my ironing board, I would do it the same way. I would put the interfacing down, glue side up. I would put that over the top, and then I would hold my iron. Actually, I might do that. I'll show you with, let's say, that one, and let's say that one. We'll do those ones at the iron. I'll show you in a minute. Okay. Actually, I just wanted to show you this. Because these are cut smaller, because I want to leave that edge, I'm going to do these ones this way up. And then just pop my machine down. And it will give it a few seconds. Oh, it smells. It smells like glue and fabric. And then you can see it's very hot that it's glued on. All right, I'll do the other ones at the ironing board. Okay, at the ironing board, excuse the shadows. I have overhead lights, like down lights everywhere, so there's just no avoiding that, sorry. So glue side up. Gonna pop that one on there because this is cut smaller. Gonna go glue side down, but I am going to hold that. I'm going to get that where I want it. Just because of the nature of this stuff, I don't like ironing over the top. It sort of doesn't melt, but yeah, just doesn't do great, I don't reckon. It's better to do it this way. Although I've picked like not a great fabric because that's got that gold overlay. But anyway, so my iron, I'm just going to have my iron nice and hot. Hold it in place for a good sort of 5 to 10 seconds. And then this one, check it. Yeah, that's good. So you can see why I like the press, because I can whack a couple of pieces under there at once and just pull it down and boom, you're done. It does take up a lot of space in your sewing room. So that's on. Back to the table. Okay, so we've got all those ironed on. So same order, light, medium, fleece, Decoville light, Decoville heavy. So even though this is Decoville light and this is Decoville heavy, I would still go, actually that's the order I would put them in. So this one, you can see it's just given it a little bit of firmness. That's our lightest one. Then we have the fleece. It is kind of soft, like it's as firm as that. It's a bit thicker, but it's I don't know, just a little bit softer, if that makes sense. Get some and have a little play. And then that medium one, see how that's, this one will sort of flop. This one won't. So that's the medium one. So it's quite strong. And I really like using this in my bags because it just gives that good structure. And then we have the Decoville light. So where I was going before, that's the order. Even though this is light, it's still a bit stronger than this one. So you can see it's sort of, it's just got good strength to it. And then the heavy, like I said, that's just like cardboard. So can you guess why, probably should have done on this one too, why I've left these outer bits free? Like I've gone right up to the end on this one, but on these ones, I've left a 1/4 inch around. And it's because, obviously, maybe not obviously, I shouldn't say that. That's a bit arrogant, Kathy. Might not be obvious to some people, which is why you're explaining it. It's because we want that seam allowance so that when we sew around, we're not trying to sew into this. I don't worry sometimes, like I've automatically done it that way because I leave it because I find that it makes my seams stronger. But I have industrial machines as well as domestic machines, and my industrial machine will go through that without even thinking. It'll go through that, and I could do all of them together, honestly. If I put a good needle in, I could stitch through all of them in my industrial like a dream, and she would handle it. She's a beast. I love her. But yeah, on your typical machine, and even like my lighter industrial, you don't want to be sewing through that because you just mess up your stitches. And also when you turn your work out, it won't fold out. So if I sew that nicely, which I'll do and come back, I'll show you. I'll sew that nicely and then show you how it opens up, and then I'll sew through, I don't know, maybe these ones, and show you how that seam won't open up as nicely. Hang on, I'll be back. Okay, here we go. I can't live with those threads. Oh, go away. Go away, threads. Really good habit to get into. Just keep your work tidy. So when you're finished, like, you're not going back after you're trying to give it to someone as a gift or sell something, and then you're noticing threads everywhere. Right, so on this one, I've sewn along that fabric really messily because I didn't want to move my chair over there, so I did it standing up. And see how easily that folds over? And then I've got that nice edge. There's no problem with it. I could iron it flat just to make it look that little bit nicer, and then I can top stitch my work, and it's no problem. On this one, if I left my interfacing right up to the ends, then trying to fold over my work, I can still do it, but it doesn't look as nice, does it? You'll top stitch that, look lovely. Top stitch that, it's bulky. So we don't want to have bulk in our work. We don't want bulk at the seams. So if you hear someone in a tutorial or you're reading a pattern and it's talking about bulk, that's what it means. You don't want bulk in your seams. And it's good to explain it because, you know, especially as a beginner, I would read something and I wouldn't understand what it was. And I'd be, doesn't matter, I'm just going to do it my way. And then I'd end up with bulky seams. So there you go. That is interfacing. And like I said, I tend to, especially with that one, leave it up because it's not as thick as this one. So, but yeah, I'll pop up pictures of some of the stuff I've done with interfacing so that you can see how it gives structure and shape. So go and buy some. The minimum you can buy is, I think, 20 centimeters, which is just if you want to have a play while you're there, wherever you're going shopping. Have a look at the interfacing. You can get sew in interfacing again, but sew in, I mean, it's pretty explanatory. I usually use iron on. Go and buy some. Have a little practice. Have a little play. Get used to it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of making mistakes and having to start again or try something else, because remember, it is only fabric. Okay? Have a good day, people, and check out my other tutorials. If you like this one, please give me a like and a subscribe and help me get my YouTube feet under me, and that'll help me get going. Okay, have a good one. Bye.